We actually are uncovering a lot of things that us humans actually have already found. We just have discarded because it's not profitable. An example actually is within autism.
How does this process look like when you're doing AI prediction to actual clinical application? And what are some of the challenges arising when we're translating this into patient care?
Yeah, great question. So we use this platform, we call it Matrix, to look across the world's knowledge of every drug, every disease, every gene, every protein. It's basically all of the world's knowledge in what's called a biomedical knowledge graph. So it's a two-dimensional representation of what we know about medicine. And then we train algorithms on known treatments. Like we know siltuximab treats Castleman disease. So we train on that relationship. We train on other relationships, literally thousands that we know. And then we ask the algorithm, look across every other drug versus every other disease and give us a score from 0 to 1 for how likely it is that you think that that drug is going to work for that disease based on what we trained you on. And so we get things that are close to 0, which means that are unlikely to work, and things close to 1.99s that the algorithm thinks are likely to work. And so we do that across all 4,000 drugs, all 18,000 diseases. So it's about 75 million scores that we generate. And then us humans can look at the things that score highly. Like, what is AI saying is likely to work? Us humans can look at the top. And what's interesting is that we thought we were going to mostly be finding sort of new discoveries. We published in the New England Journal of Medicine a couple months ago, identifying that a TNF inhibitor might be useful in Castleman disease. We treated a patient with it. It saved his life. And so that was a discovery. That was novel. Humans hadn't figured that out yet. But what I've been really surprised to find is that we actually are uncovering a lot of things that us humans actually have already found. We just have discarded because it's not profitable. And so an example of that, I wouldn't say fully discarded, but at least haven't taken forward. An example actually is within autism. It turns out that a large portion of kids with autism have antibodies that prevent folate from getting in their brain. They have a cerebral folate deficiency. And there's a medicine called leucovorin, which bypasses that cerebral folate deficiency and goes through what's called the RFC, the reduced folate channel. And you actually get folate into these kids' brains. And there have been 3 randomized controlled trials showing improvement in verbal communication in these kids. It's by no means a cure. It's by no means, all of those, words that we all look for. But it certainly helps to improve communication in kids that have autism, which is meaningful. And there's been really no uptake at all of this medicine, and there's a blood testing to help to predict cases that are likely to benefit. And so this highlights how when you use an all versus all approach, look across every drug and every disease, I never would have said, let's focus on this disease or this drug and let's see what we find the match for. But if you take this completely disease and drug agnostic approach, you can let the algorithm and let AI tell you where to focus. And what I think is exciting about that, to your point, is that you've got some cases like adalimumab for Castleman's where it's a stretch, it's a discovery. Really, hold on to your safety belts while you're deciding whether to try this in humans, and that's the stretch of AI. But also, AI is really good at just finding patterns and things that us humans have already found, but putting a spotlight on it, saying you humans, you should look more here. And I think that's much lower risk, right? It's not like the trials have already been done, or in some cases the work's going on, but this is pointing it out to us and saying you should focus more here.